Welcome to We're All Human Here, Practicing Effective Online Written Communication, presented by the Walden Writing Center. In this video, we'll discuss the why, what, and how of online communication. We'll begin with the importance of clarity and inclusivity in written online communication, review the various forums where online communication can occur, and finally provide specific strategies and recommendations for communicating through email and discuss ways to promote inclusivity and belonging in all of our online communication. The modern workplace relies heavily on online written communication, and Walden University is no different, as an online university and as a workplace where most of us teach from our home offices. As such, effective online communication is essential for us when working with all communities at the university, other faculty, students, administrators, and staff. Without effective online communication, we can't successfully work together and teach our students. However, online communication can have a reputation for being cold or unclear if done ineffectively. Because our audience isn't immediately accessible in online communication, we can forget that it is also a form of interpersonal communication. Additionally, expectations for online communication are often implicit or assumed. Our goal in this video is to help make these expectations more explicit and provide concrete strategies and suggestions for communicating in an online environment. To begin, let's build on the foundation of communication, specifically in an online environment. Clear, effective online communication requires strong awareness of audience, purpose, and tone and format, all of which apply to any forum for online communication. Audience refers to the recipients of your message, in whatever forum that is. Who will be reading my message? What is their context? What are they bringing to this message? Purpose refers to the reason for the message. What do I want to accomplish with this message? What do I want to happen after this message? Tone and format is about how your message is presented. How best can I communicate to my audience? How best can I achieve my purpose? What level of formality is expected of me, or do I want to communicate? These questions apply across communication in an online environment, and your answers to these questions will help you clearly and effectively write your message. How you address audience, purpose, and tone and format is also related to the forum for your communication. In an online environment, there are two main categories of communication forums, although of course these can also overlap. Individual communication forums include email and IM. These are more personal and direct forums since the audience is often smaller or specifically chosen. Email and IM's purpose is often to work with specific individuals with specific and actionable information or requests. These can be more precise than public forums. Email and IM etiquette are also very dependent on your college's culture in terms of how they are used. Some groups may use IM more than email, or vice versa, depending on the group's culture and needs. Public communication forums include workplace networks like Yammer or Teams, and student discussion forums. These forums are more public to a wider audience, all of whom you may or may not know. When using these forums, your purpose may be to inform specific individuals, but using these types of forums allows for the archiving of information for others or access to the conversation by casual readers who may be interested. Use of public communication forums can also vary depending on your college's culture and use of these forums. Here are two samples of individual and public communication forums. A specific student request for an assignment extension is a good fit for discussion via an individual communication channel, like email, as it is specific and likely private. However, a general discussion with other faculty about encouraging student participation in discussion boards can be a good fit for a public forum, like Yammer, to allow those who are interested to be involved. Although individual and public communication forums might be used in different scenarios, they all are included in the overarching category of online written communication. So we should always apply considerations of audience, purpose, and tone and format to them. Engaging in public online communication forums is usually mediated through your college's culture. Because of this, in this video we will focus more specifically on email and IM, although our most specific recommendations are around email. Email and IM can often work in tandem, but it is also helpful to articulate the differences between them. Email is a more permanent and long-form channel of communication. Emails create a record of the communication and can effectively communicate long or complex ideas. Responses to emails vary, but traditionally email is sent without the expectation of an immediate response. IM is a more transient and concise form of communication. Although Walden's email system can keep a log of our IM history, it is more like a passing conversation in the hall and more difficult to reference at a later date. Additionally, because IM is more like a conversation between you and another person, it is best to keep IM messages short. IM is used when you need an immediate response from someone, often for quick requests for help or information, or to check in with someone. Because we use email more prevalently to communicate within the university, we're now going to dive deeper in how to write effective emails. Many of the strategies here can be applied to your other online communication as well. First, let's review the components of an email and how to approach each component. The first component to tackle is the subject line. It's easy to overlook these, but in many ways, the subject line serves as your email's abstract, the thing your reader will glance at when deciding whether to read your message more closely. Subject lines should be both concise and specific. A succinct reference to the message's purpose will help draw your reader in. A vague subject line could result in your audience not opening the email or unnecessary concern about the email's content. Omitting a subject line altogether can mean your message will be flagged as spam and not reach your intended reader at all. Depending on the email, you may decide to write the subject line after you've completed writing the message, at which point your subject may be clearer and easier for you to generate. Greetings can vary greatly depending on who you are emailing. Salutations, like dear, are more formal and work well when you don't have a relationship with the person you are emailing, while hello is often acceptable in a wide range of contexts. Similarly, closings will vary depending on your audience. Closings like sincerely and yours are more formal, while best is also acceptable in a wide range of contexts. Writers may also choose to use closings like cheers that are a bit more informal. Also include a signature after your closing that includes your identifying information. Even if you include a more informal sign-off in an email with just your first name, having a formal signature to end your email can ensure your reader knows who you are, your Walden affiliation, and how to contact you. We also encourage you to include your pronouns in your signature. We'll discuss this more in a later section about encouraging inclusivity and belonging in online communication. In emails with multiple people, you can choose to reply to the original sender individually or reply all to all individuals included in the email. When emails are with particularly large groups, consider only replying to the original sender to avoid filling others' inboxes. However, when the intention is to collaborate over email or keep the entire group informed, reply all can be helpful to use. You can also share documents via email, usually in one of two ways, depending on your purpose. Attaching finalized or static documents to an email is a helpful way of sharing the document. However, if your intention is to use a document for collaboration, like a shared presentation, you can also share a document through a OneDrive or other cloud-based document storage system link. This allows everyone to make their edits or comments in one shared document, avoiding multiple versions. The next few slides will help you consider the body of your email message, starting with the process of writing your email itself. As with any written communication, an email may benefit from a process of drafting to ensure the best possible communication. This is especially important for writing or replying to messages around tense situations. We sometimes react emotionally to messages we receive, and it can be helpful to write a first draft response, step away, and come back to the email to reconsider. This can help you evaluate your clarity and the professionalism and effectiveness of your tone and revise accordingly. Similarly, emails with particularly important or overly complex information may need revisions for clarity and organization. Writing a draft and then stepping away can help you consider the email again and revise where needed. Try to read the message through the eyes of your intended audience, which can help you spot where you've been unclear or may need additional context. Another strategy to help you write effective emails is to create templates for emails you write frequently. This can be particularly helpful when responding to students who may have similar questions or requests. Creating a template can help you ensure you don't leave out information, such as a useful link or tip. It can also help you respond in an objective and measured tone, particularly if you write the template text at a time when you're not feeling rushed and can provide your most patient, polished writing. Most email systems have methods for preserving template text, or you may even use a separate document to house commonly used messaging. Whichever method you use, remember to make the text personal in other ways. Template text can sound insincere if it doesn't quite match the tone or topic of the original question. Using this method should allow you time to personalize the key information within the template. The best of us still make spelling or grammatical errors when writing, especially when writing in a medium as informal as email. We recommend taking advantage of the spell and our grammar checking features of your email. You can run spell check in Outlook manually after writing each email, or you can adjust your email setting so Outlook will check your spelling before sending your email automatically. This can help you spot typos and spelling errors, especially when you're writing quickly. The longer you work with students and colleagues at Walden, the more comfortable you'll likely be when communicating to them via email. When you consider the elements of an email we've already mentioned, such as subject lines, greetings, or tone, pay attention to the norms in your college or program. How does your supervisor approach these choices? Do your colleagues tend to be more formal or informal? Do your students seem to understand feedback better in bulleted lists or narrative paragraphs? About how long can an email be before you suspect the reader may not persist to the end? The answers won't be the same for everyone you communicate with, but you'll likely get a sense of the norms and the most effective ways to reach your audience. Take a moment to scan the last 5 or 10 emails you received with an eye on these elements. Is your style in alignment? Is there anything you particularly like or find off-putting? This sort of analysis can be a helpful step as you continue to strengthen your online voice. In addition to the practical email strategies described above, we will also talk about how we can promote inclusivity and belonging in emails and in all of our online communication. As we discussed earlier, online communication, and by extension, online education, can have a reputation for being cold or for lacking clarity. This means that online communication can be a particular barrier to promoting inclusivity and belonging in our university community, for both students and faculty. Addressing this barrier is important for many reasons, in particular because research shows that belongingness can help students of color withstand the challenges of negative stereotypes in the classroom. It is important that we bring Walden University's values of diversity, equity, and inclusion to our online communications to help all students and faculty feel that they belong, and small changes to how we approach our online communication can have a large and real impact on members of our university community. We'll provide 3 strategies for promoting inclusivity and belonging in our online communication. The first strategy for promoting a sense of inclusivity and belongingness is to provide adequate context. As you are writing a message, consider and anticipate concepts or terms with which your audience may not be familiar. Although it's not necessary to include everything in a message, it can be alienating to receive an email that assumes a certain level of inside knowledge. For example, avoid using acronyms without explanation, which can impede understanding and make a reader feel inferior if they don't know what they mean. You can also link to information or resources you mention in case the reader isn't familiar with them. This reduces any embarrassment or need to ask for more information. The second strategy is to embrace multiple identities. The Walden community is diverse, and we want to make everyone, regardless of their identities, feel that they belong. One way to do so is to avoid making assumptions about shared life experiences among your colleagues or students. The Walden community is composed of people with vastly different life experiences, so it's rarely true that everyone in your environment shares the same frameworks, such as cultural, generational, or geographical attitudes and references. It's perfectly fine to discuss your own context where appropriate, but try to avoid generalizing them to your students or faculty audience. Another way to embrace multiple identities is to provide your pronouns in your email signature. Providing your pronouns helps others know how to engage you when writing to or about you, and it signals to your colleagues and students that you are aware of the diversity that exists around gender. Finally, stay curious and be teachable. If students and colleagues feel you are interested in learning more about their perspectives, they're more likely to be open about challenges and to work effectively with you. If anyone lets you know of a communication that made them feel uncomfortable, acknowledge, apologize, and adjust. Language changes rapidly, so it's up to all of us to continuously learn from each other. Our third strategy is to explain the importance of information through language rather than through text formatting. Certain kinds of text formatting can be off-putting for readers, alienating them from the message. For instance, using all caps may seem like a good way to draw attention to information, but many readers interpret all caps as aggressive or yelling. Underlining, highlighting, and bolding can sometimes be helpful to delineate information in writing, but overuse of those tactics can be distracting for a reader as well. If something you're saying is critically important for your reader to hear, try to emphasize it in words instead. We hope that this overview of how to achieve clarity and inclusivity in written online communication has provided you with helpful strategies to implement as you work with your Walden colleagues and students. There are many other resources you can look to for additional information, practice, and tips, some of which we have listed here. Note that the last 3 resources are also available to students, and you're welcome to share them. If you would like to follow up with any questions you have about this video or any other writing-related questions, please let Amber know. She'd be glad to hear from you.